I just wanted to provide a quick update on the progress of the content I create and outlook on life, little things like that, because hopefully it will give people sort of insights into sort of how I work and operate, but also maybe other things they could do to change. I wouldn't necessarily say always improve, because I think sometimes it's about reflection, isn't it? So something I'm interested in may not be something else is interested in. You might see ways to do something different. So I think just hearing different ways of doing things, I think it's always useful. And like I said, it's not always going to be the best way. It's just we all have limitations. We all have like an expectation. And really, what do we actually want? Because you can sit there and blindly just follow everybody else. And that's what I'm saying. I think it's really important to just distinguish for ourselves what we want. And it's not always following trends. It could be literally be a trend setter. But sometimes we can do things that are maybe the wrong way as well. So there's no guarantees with that. But yeah, I was sitting there thinking about, it's worth just updating just briefly, I think, on progress. But then again, beyond that, perhaps outlooks, if I remember, because in my mind at the moment, I'm tired. So this is my YouTube channel, which of course, if anyone's watching this, probably on YouTube. In fact, it would be. So it's hardly something new to see the YouTube channel. Now, one of the biggest issues of any content creator is what sort of content do you create? And if you have different interests, what do? Do you just migrate it all together, or do you segregate it and create multiple channels? I get so tired of doing it all. I don't like multitasking like that. I understand, look, ideally you would have certain channels for certain content, and then you just spread yourself everywhere. And that means if someone follows this content, that they get what they're expecting to see. I think when you've got it mixed, it really can segregate. I think it can actually split and be quite divisive within the community you're building. Yeah, so that's where my mind goes. But then I start thinking deeper about it, and I think, like, I am the brand. I am me. Like, the name of my channel is my name. So I think, like, personally, I don't want to keep splitting myself into little fragments of different parts of me here, a little part of me there, a little part. And I understand, obviously, makes sense, and there's plenty of people do it. But I'd rather just put me where I am. And that means it's not always going to be perhaps what everybody's expecting. And people can dismiss something they're not interested in. So if I create a piece of content, for instance, and someone is watching, they're subscribing or whatever, or they're just checking it out, and they're expecting something else, it's like, you can just ignore that piece of content. It's not hurting to have it there, is it? I mean, it might hurt overall if you was to go, like, for instance, if you was to go and click videos on my profile, so all the videos, yeah, it might get confusing, because between, like, maybe you've got some deep introspective content where I talk about life, I talk about personal growth, transformation, even politics, spirituality, all sorts of topics. And then all of a sudden I start going off course, and I'm talking about gaming, or I'm talking about movies, or I'm talking about something else. And it's just like, I can understand that it could be quite grating on someone. But these are all parts of me, you know, these are things I'm interested in. And I started to realize that gaming in general, if you look at the content I create, it probably isn't the community that's interested in gaming so much. But then I think, broaden people's minds. You know, maybe they don't play video games, but maybe they could, if they're interested in me as the brand, they might. Look, I don't pretend to be anything other than myself. So I don't play up to the camera. I'm not interested in being over exaggerating something. If something terrifies me, like, you won't see me play many horrors, but when I do, they freak me out. That's why I don't like going near them. But I might do some just to keep it like a bit of entertainment. But I wouldn't be playing up for that. I would be I would putting the content on, perhaps mainly really for others' enjoyment, but my reaction to it would absolutely be genuine. You know, so I'm not interested in being anything other than me. And like I say, I think by sharing some of my gaming I enjoy, it might open people's ideas to, like, what gaming is, rather than stigmatize it, you know, and things like that. And like, for instance, if you're not going to play it yourself, maybe you get to experience it vicariously through me playing it. But I'm trying to be aware not to flood it, because I don't want to sort of like just make my whole channel overlapped and just completely consumed by games. But so what I've done, I've picked a handful of games here. There's 5 there. So we've got mainly, a lot of them are Star Wars related at the moment. And what I want to do is play through them. And now, if I play through, put a part 1 out, and then a couple of days later, and then a day later I'm doing part 2, it's going to be quite overwhelming, and I think it's going to flood my page. Because effectively, a game can be like anything from maybe 15 hours to 40. And if I'm doing videos that are maybe 1 hour, 2 hours long, is that that's going to need a lot of videos, isn't it? Minimum of 10. So 10 per game. If I was to do that consecutively, it's going to it's going to change the entire outlook of my profile if you was to go and check the videos based on recent activity. Because to be honest, this is the thing. There's no guarantee I'm always going to create content. Like I always say that I might not create content of substance all the time because I've got other things to do. I want to enjoy myself, and I do say that sometimes I just want to chill out. Sometimes and relax. I want to play games. I want to watch some movies. But the games I can share, not all of them, because there's some I just play peacefully on the sofa. But some I might just record, like share the whole experience. And it's just the thing is, although it might look like you're flooding the page with that, but if I haven't done anything in the interim, then I was never going to create any more content anyway in that period. So although it might look like the channel changes, for instance, it's not permanent. If I want to create something else, it's not like my content will never just be just one thing. It's going to be like me. What am I interested in at that moment? What have I got to share? If I've got something deep to talk about, I'll talk about it. If I feel like I've said enough, then I've said enough. And then if I'm just chilling and I think I'll share that experience, I'll share that experience. So the point really there is, let's say this was my last video talking about anything of substance, and then I did maybe I did like 20 videos of gaming. Although that might be irritating for people who are not interested in that, if I wasn't doing the 20 videos of gaming, there would be nothing anyway. So it's not really hurting anyone. So of course, like I say, if you was to go on the video section, it can get quite confusing. Someone that comes on my profile might think that's what it is. Let's say it was 20 recent videos were all gaming, you'd start thinking it's a gaming channel, wouldn't you? And I think that's the concern. So to mitigate that, I'm keeping it very structured on the homepage. So when someone comes on my channel, you go looking for the content in recent order. It's not going to look pretty for people who don't maybe have an interest in that way. But what I've done is made sure that my main profile on the page, recent videos will go at the top as they always have. But then I've got like editor's choice. Ones I think are like really like life affirming. They're going to be really relevant. If you're only going to have if you only got a limited amount of time to consume content, they're the ones I'd say go and have a look at them ones first, or they're a priority. But then I've got others here. So we've got talks, which is all my gaming content is all the way at the bottom. This isn't really showing all of it, so we've got a little bit lower. But my gaming content is going to be at the bottom in certain playlists. So I've got one gaming, which means it's just a random gaming video. It might be just play game once. The others are going to be a series, so it'll be like me playing through the game. But if you go to the top, which is what the first people will see first, you'll see recent videos, but you'll also see sections. We've got politics, society. I've got talks off topic because I realized, I like to talk about other things. It's not always going to be very serious things. It could be gaming. It could be a movie series. It could be music. It could be absolutely anything. If I'm thinking, you know what, I want to talk about that in a minute. But it doesn't really fit in the category of this is going to change your life. So now I've called it talks off topic because I think it is off topic. So I'm going to do that. But like I said, I had other channels. I've got this one here. I'm not sure if it can work like this. It should work. I haven't even logged in on this channel for ages. I've probably got loads of notifications, but I've not logged in. But I've had a few new subscribers. I'm on 46 now. I think I was on 35, 40 when I looked last. I can't even remember. So if any content creator will know that majority, like especially starting out, it's slow going to gain traction, especially on YouTube. I've got no idea what people are watching, where they've decided to follow, in all honesty, because I haven't posted anything in a long time. If you go on videos, I think the last one was 2 months ago. So I've just decided that I'm not throwing myself. Doesn't mean I'll never post there because I really don't know. It's still there, isn't it? But I don't want to keep splitting myself in parts anymore. So I'm not really caring about that channel anymore. I'm just going to focus here, and I'll talk about things. So I might talk about physical media where I'm collecting VHS tapes. I've got my DVDs, my Blu-rays. Some people think it's a dying breed, really. Everything's streaming. You'll find there's a lot of people that are resisting that now. A lot of people are going back, not partly through nostalgia, but part about ownership. You pay once, you keep it. You're not hemorrhaging money all the time with these streaming services with limited content. Rights getting removed all the time, account limitations and all those things. So literally, they're augmenting the content to force you to consume it in the way they want you to see it. So they'll pick and choose what content's available on a platform. And it's like, if you want to watch something specific, you've now got to go and pay extra on top of your subscription if you're like somewhere like Prime, where you can buy, maybe perhaps buy the film. But this is like double spending all the time, you know. Whereas really, like for me personally, somewhere like Netflix was always about like I like certain TV shows like The Big Bang Theory. It's convenient. So just for The Big Bang Theory, I would subscribe to Netflix on a monthly basis just for the convenience. It's easy to watch, even though I had the DVDs. Now, I prefer Prime because Prime has actually got some really good films now and TV shows, but also it's got all the other features. You know, you've got music, you've got some free video games each month. You can borrow digital books. So you've got digital library. You've got cloud saving with your photos. A lot of people probably don't know about those things, you know. And of course, we've got the fast delivery with your orders. So what you're getting with that, for me personally, is so much better than Netflix. That's my take on that, really. So I'm not necessarily subscribing to Prime solely for the video content, but it's a plus. So I've got access to that anyway. But if it didn't have that, I'd still pay it for the deliveries. So for me, it's really good. But I'm not reliant solely on it, and I do like to collect things. So I'm not going to go on a whole tangent here, but I could talk about it, and I think I probably have already done one on physical media, which I think is important. We talk about the future. Yeah, we can all sense change coming. I think everybody has that within them. You have a feeling of something's building. You know, and I've been feeling for a while. I get frustrated in my life. It's always a lot. I think my life's a lot harder than I feel. Well, I don't know how people perceive it, but it's a lot harder than the average person would perceive my life. Finances are always crippling. It's always really hard. So sometimes I spend money I shouldn't have to spend, but it's always calculated to a degree. I take certain risks or liberties with myself. I wouldn't say risks, let's say liberties. I realise the repercussions. It's not like huge outlays. It's not huge issues where I'm getting myself in all sorts of problems. But I sometimes get myself into the odd problem, because it's hard to go through life with nothing. So there's a risk here and a risk there. So like I like my gaming, I like my movies, I like things like that, and I've spoke about it before. There is an addictive tendency which I stem and I do control, I think, incredibly well, but there's still a desire there, and I don't like the feeling that I can't have something at all. You know, so it's like sometimes I'm like, you know what, we just have to take on the ramifications, really, the knock-on effect of having that. But so be it. All that is really to say that I don't feel my circumstances define who I am, and I don't think my circumstances reflect my growth, my potential in any way. So I don't see myself in this position forever, but it's not a very nice position to be in. Oh, wait a minute. I have these headphones on because they're noise cancelling. I like to block the world off. It connects to two devices at the same time, so it actually connects to my phone, which irritates me because sometimes it disconnects when it's got two things going on, even though there's no activity. So I have to turn the Bluetooth off on my phone so it stops trying to connect to the whole thing, but it'll just start going disconnected. Anyway, I know we're detracting here. But yeah, I've like, I'm not diagnosed, but I've had people say in the past about autism, like a low level of autism and things like that. And the more I've spoke to people who have come across people like that, or people that or have those, they recognise that in me. Now, I'm not diagnosed, so I'm not going to say one thing or another, but noises really bother me a lot. Like, I get really fed up. I pick up on every little thing. So for me having these, it just blocks everything out so I can focus. I can still focus without it, but the little things would trigger me, like annoy me. But if I was talking to someone personally, like here, like if there's someone with me, I wouldn't really notice all the other stuff because I'd be too busy between each other. But on my own, I'd rather keep myself focused, you know. We've probably gone off track now. But anyway, all that to say that I feel the potential's there to do so much more in my life. And then I've started thinking about like how far you can go, because I get a lot of, look, this is a spiritual side now. And again, I don't like forcing that on people, which is why it's a little bit further down on my page. If you notice, I've got the talks and things, and then off-topic politics, and it's all the way down past that to spirituality, because I don't like pushing it on people. Like really, it should be right next to talks. For me personally, it should be right next to talks, and maybe one day I'll move it there. But it's something where I think even like religion and things, I think it's subjective and personal to an individual. It's not for me to convince someone of anything or force my will on anyone, because it makes no difference to me as long as you're doing things to your highest good and for the best of reasons. You're doing fine. I think understanding the connection to source and the reason for being here and all those things will literally help you a lot more in life, though. just on outlook on things, and then you realize there's a reason for it. So then you don't get so bogged down by struggles. You see the lessons in it. But again, I'm not going to digress too far there. But I get a lot of signs about fame, recognition, and all those things, and it's not something I crave, though. Me personally, I just want to be successful in my own right, as successful as I can be. And sometimes there's consequences to that, and the consequence is recognition. And one thing I always find quite curious is people in general, they think people are like they're dancing ponies, I always find it quite amusing, really. Let's say someone's in the spotlight because let's say an actor. They're in the spotlight. Let me just get rid of this now because I don't think we need it. Let's say someone's in the spotlight because they're an actor. People feel they're like entitled to their time or something just because they're famous. And then some people will say, well, that's the price of being famous. It's like, if you didn't want to do that, you shouldn't have been famous. It's like you're losing the point entirely. They're doing something that entertains. Now you've become addicted to their energy. You feel connected to them and you want to have time with them, but they never offered that. At what point did they offer that? So you can't feel entitled to that. And I always find that entitlement quite interesting, the way people do feel that way. And they feel if you can't handle it, then you shouldn't be like an actor or something. It's like, well, why can't they have their privacy and be an actor? Why can't you control yourself? Why do you feel entitled to it? And that's things people need to question in their life. So sometimes someone will get a bad reputation for not engaging with fans and not doing this and that. But it's like, well, what says they should? Now, of course, there's humility in that and not being arrogant, but I think there's a balance to be had. And of course, you've got to think about your safety just as well as your privacy as well. Not everyone you meet is going to be friendly, and people can be deceptive. So, yeah, I'm acutely aware of all the things that can come positively and negatively with that side of life. But one of the parts that I find quite irritating, just the concept of, and I can't talk from experience because I've not been in a situation, but one can only imagine, is entitlement. Like, even like I was touched on there, the everyday person. But what about people who feel privileged in their life? So they are celebrities. They have egos, and they don't like rejection. Because you see it anyway, don't you? A lot of them just feel entitled to everything. So let's say especially if you're upcoming. Let's say you was upcoming. Let's say you got on the spotlight. You're emergence. You're something new. You're like a new commodity. Something that's intriguing because it is new. So people are a bit more fascinated with that. And there might be people who are already established who feel they've been there longer than you, and they feel they just feel entitled to your attention. Because people feel like that, especially when they've got money and wealth and things. They just think they can just attain that whenever they want. It's like that nothing's off limits. And it's just, I find that quite baffling because I'm not someone who aspires for any of that shit. So I see people on a human level. I don't see them on status, and I don't care about status. And if I feel someone's using their status and privilege to elevate beyond someone else, like they're trying to be overbearing and trying to be controlling, and they want to dominate, I don't very much like that. So I take exception to them, and I'll judge them accordingly. Because I see everybody on a human level. So if you're using your privilege in the wrong way and you're asserting dominance because you feel you can, and you feel you're a better quality of human, then you need to check yourself, because not all of us are interested in the glitter and gold. So in that way, on a human level, I don't have much respect. I'm not interested in people who are negative entities. I'm not interested in that. So if you're draining, I wouldn't even want to be near you. So there's no guarantee that even if opportunities come and I elevate and I do well, there's no guarantee who I will give my time and energy to. And that isn't from a place of arrogance. It's a place of need, necessity. I'm someone that needs privacy. I'm someone that needs my own time. I'm not just going to give it away. I'm not a sellout. So if something comes with this attachment to it, it's like there's no guarantee. I'm not a dancing pony. I'll help people where I can, and I'll give my time and energy in which way I can. But I also prioritize my own needs too. So I'm not prepared to just suffer endlessly just because people feel they're entitled to you. Because then for me, it's like, check yourself. I don't care about your status. You could be the wealthiest person in the world. You could be the most prominent person in the world. That means nothing to me. Who are you on a human level? Because again, if you're going to exert that, if you're going to use that influence to try to dictate and control someone else's life, then why would I want to spend time with you? So if someone takes exception and then tries to destroy your reputation or tries to do that, it's like it shows me everything. And I'm happy I didn't entertain them. Because again, it's all character development, isn't it? And who are you at your core? Because not everybody that has reached the top are kind or good people. So I always find that quite interesting. So personally, I always like my life's been challenging up to now. Like, kid you, like, believe me, my life has been an absolute nightmare and a tragedy for many years, to be totally honest. But I'm under no illusion that if opportunity comes and success really, really elevates, I'm under no illusion. Like, I know the challenges, even in privilege, will be just as hard as the challenges through poverty and trauma. Because there's different sides to it all. And then again, that's people only see the glitz and gold, the glamour, you know, they don't see the other side of it. You know, the people that are jealous, there'll be people that try to, it's almost like it's the politics, the political game, you know, espionage. There'll be people who want what you have. There'll be people who are jealous and envious. There'll be people who smile to your face, talk behind your back. There'll be people that are plotting your downfall. There'll always be those things, but it's like, can you rise above it? Can you still be you, knowing all that is going on anyway? And me, I don't really care what other people are doing. It's like, to each their own. I'm not a jealousy sort of person. I'm not a revenge sort of person. So it's like, you know what? If you do what you feel you need to do with your life, and I'll do what I feel I need to do with my life. And really, it's none of my business what you do behind the scenes. You know, if your life's tragic and you want to live it like you just want to live like that your whole life, then by all means, it's like you do you. I'm going to continue doing this. So if I upset a few people along the way, do I look like someone that really cares? I just couldn't give a shit, to be totally honest. It's like the way I see it is I didn't offer anyone anything. I didn't say I would do this. And I've always said that if an opportunity comes, people better be transparent with me, because there's no point expecting something of me that was never guaranteed. So don't come at me with like manipulative opportunities and then at the end expect me to be doing something that I never said I'd do and then be surprised when I say no, because you should have known. I don't play games. I am opinionated, but I'm upfront. You know, always know what you get with me. I don't do any of that deceptive shit. So if I don't like you, you'll know I don't like you. If I like you, you know I like you. If I can trust you, you know, and if there's a business opportunity and we agree this, then I'll see it through. You know, within reason. You know, if people, because the thing about any walk of life is, I see it even in sports and things where people get attached to like a brand or something, and then you blame like players or something, you know, and when they leave and you think they're betrayed, it's like, no, because you don't know the politics that went on behind the scenes. Someone sells you an illusion of something great. So let's say someone offers you a deal, like not a deal, one specific, but let's say it's a project, and you've got all the best of intentions. I'm excited about this. Yeah, I can see us working on that, and I can see it being really successful. Everything they've said, based on what they've said, absolutely. But then as the project unfolds and you realize there's people working behind the scenes that they never introduced before, and there's different decisions being made, and all of a sudden the project evolving and changing, not necessarily in the best of ways, and maybe your position isn't really what it was said to be. All these little things, and it's like, eventually it's not what it was portrayed. You walk away from that, and then people think, you know what, you're either flaky or you don't see things through. It's like, no, integrity matters. Based on the opportunity that was presented, absolutely. But if it changes so much that it's no longer that project, how can you expect people to stay? And it's the same in sports, you know. If a team says we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we see ourselves, and then it's just a train wreck after a train wreck, and they just keep losing coaches and managers and things. It's like, how can you expect someone to stay through that? Why should they stay loyal to a project that's been falsely represented to them? They have every right to say, I've had enough of this. And that's the way of people. So anyway, even if you take on what I'm saying and you take away the fact that I see that for my future, like there's going to be caveats, there's going to be beautiful things, I have no doubt, and there's going to be some negative things, and it's up to me to balance the two, and stay grounded and, you know, on point really. But the point there is, it's like, hopefully it gives people reflection time. Because let's say a celebrity is watching me now. Let's just say that's happening. Let's say someone who has opportunity or the privilege, whatever, and they're watching me now. Maybe they're in the thick of all that, and they understand that it's quite challenging and it's exhausting. Because who could you trust? my attitude to that would be just reset. You don't owe anyone anything. Loyalty, a lot of the time, only extends to sort of the gains people can get from you. So as soon as you stop reaching out or offering what people were used to, how much are they really interested now? And you'll find people, you can abruptly end things, and it cause reaction in people. So like, because again, people, their ego gets hurt. Or you could do it. That's a quick process. That's more like what I do. I'm more like born in a china shop. I've got no time for games, and it's like I've got no time to waste. So if we're going to get to the same outcome, either way, one way is going to be quite destructive, and the other way could be a bit more amicable and peaceful. But it's going to take maybe a couple of years. Or the other way is just do it now. I'll just choose the destruction. Let's just do this shit. Get pissed off, go through your healing process, take it out on me, do what you got to do, and it's like fine, because I'd rather not waste my time. But if that's too much, and in the elite world, if you like, it can get quite bad, can't it? So if it requires more of a delicate tone, then of course the more you step back, people will rely on you less, and then all of a sudden they go off and they have other connections and things. And you haven't even had to have a bad thing to do with it. It's just a natural evolution, isn't it? So the more you detach and slow down, people will inevitably get bored anyway, and then they'll detach themselves. So you can either let people detach from you, or you can just detach anyway, But the positive thing for me personally is I've sold a few books recently with my Losing Your Mind to Find Your Soul, which is the spiritual one. And I've always felt if I'm going to get an opportunity, it's going to be readers in America for some reason. I've just always felt there'll be someone somewhere in America that has connections. I don't know. That's how I've always seen my future. I have a vision of my future, and I have an idea of how things might play out. Again, a lot of time it doesn't work out how you think, but you never know. And it's sold a few times, and I feel quite optimistic. It's not like I've sold a load of copies of the book, but it's the fact that they're in America and they're selling, and I'm thinking that's good news. Because for each one, you never know when a door opens, But you never know how things transpire anyway. It might be that I'm like 60, 70 years old going, I'm going to get my break at some point. It's coming. In reality, I don't really care about the break anymore. 4 years ago, I did. Even a year ago, I was probably obsessed with it. Now I'm just fed up suffering, though. It's like the struggle is not fair. So it's more, for me now, it's more petulance than a desire. It's more the fact that I feel I deserve something now. And it's more, I feel like I've given a lot. I've not had a lot in return. And I think it's about time the universe gave me a blessing. That's how it feels now. I feel like now I deserve this. Whereas before, maybe I'd have felt it was. I think now I feel I'm deserving of something. And I think in the past, maybe it would have felt like I'm so lucky. And maybe then there's a level of, are you good enough? Do you deserve this? And I think that's sometimes why we do wait, to really make us feel the energy and it be part of us. Perhaps, I don't know. But like I said, I'm in no doubt of the negatives that come with the positives, and people looking in when they see success, they don't see the other side of it. I literally saw a video earlier, and it was Alex Warren, the singer, and he was having to, he didn't have to, but he chose to make a video, and he just explained that he wanted a week off from touring and doing things like that for his mental health. He wanted to get back to basics and just enjoy life just for a moment. Literally just a week of his life that the rest of us take for granted. And as soon as he missed dates and stuff, it was outcries, and people were like making accusations about him and making up lies. So he decided to come out and say, look, no, this is what happened. And then people were actually supportive of it. And it's like, that's the thing, isn't it? Because stories can get manipulated. And it's really important that we do prioritize ourselves, though, and you don't just burn out. So, like, even if you do get opportunities, it's like, don't just grab every bloody opportunity because you're scared they're going to run out. It's just crazy. You've got to think about yourself as well, and do it in moderation. Effectively, take time to enjoy life, or at least enjoy your peace, like with yourself. Because that's what I have. Like, my finances are poor, but I have peace of self. Like, I like my own company. I've created my space of tranquility. Even though, of course, that space could be more harmonious. It could be a more nicer place. But either way, on my own, even in the worst environment, on my own, I still have me. So I love who I am. So I feel quite fortunate that I have me to be with. It's a weird sense of self, and it's not like an obsession. It's just literally I like who I am, and I think a lot of people don't like who they are, and I think that's where a lot of the crisis comes from, and temperamental problems, and they give in and go off doing all sorts of shit, because they don't even respect themselves, let alone love them. And then they're quick to judge those that do, and it's like, that's crazy. I'm in my own little bubble of peace. Like, it doesn't matter what anyone says on the external, what they do on the external. I just don't care. I'm just me, and I like who I am. So no one's going to change that. That's the thing. Like, even if someone doesn't like me or they find me grating, it's like, okay, you don't have to watch. You don't have to be in my life. It's like, don't expect me to have that same opinion of me just because you're projecting it. It's fine. You live in your little life, your bubble. I'm in my bubble. I'm good. People can't convince me I'm something that I'm not. I know who I am. Yeah. Anyway, I know this has gone quite mental, really, with the directions of this. We've gone from how I'm like creating my YouTube channel now, and how I'm developing it. Effectively, I'm the brand, and then talking about like pitfalls and hurdles of different sides of life. But I think it's really important to have an honest reflection of ourselves, but also where you see yourself. And then when you see yourself there, what are the positives? What are the negatives? There's no point going around life like blissfully unaware, naive, because you're going to get swept away. That's the real problem. Like, if I meet someone, like I said, it's on a human level. Let's say someone that's a celebrity. I get a lot of signs that celebrities are watching me or famous. And I always think, how is that possible? I barely got any views. I think it's nonsense. And then I see my book selling, though, and it's like, well, to be honest, you just never know. You never know. But it doesn't change my outlook on anything. I don't care. Like, I keep seeing it, and I'm like, I don't care. And again, that's not a reflection of someone's achievements, because if you are successful, then you've got something about you that sets you apart. There's a drive, and I think that should be admired. But in terms of the status that it is, it doesn't interest me at all. So if a famous person was to connect with me, depending on what they do, I'll either respect them or I don't respect them, or I respect them but I don't like what they do. I'm not necessarily going to like someone, just like their vocation. It might be something they do that I respect and I like a lot, and I'm a fan, or it might just be that I appreciate what they've achieved. But you're not always going to be a fan of everyone. It's ridiculous. But even if I was a fan, it wouldn't change my outlook on them. At first, okay, it might be like, whoa, that's crazy. Like, what are the odds of that? That's mental. Especially if it's someone that's, again, if you're a fan of someone, that'd be quite remarkable. But beyond that initial feeling of bloody hell, there'll be a feeling of, oh, okay, so who, like, and then I wouldn't be interested in the image that's been portrayed through the media. I'm more interested in the person they are. So then it'd be a case of, okay, so everybody else would get hysterical. I often say that, like, people are just pissed all over the floor, but really what I'm saying there, like, I say that and it can sound wrong, but what I'm saying is people just lose themselves. They lose themselves so much, they just get too excited. It's like a dog, I wouldn't get like that. I'd be far more grounded, and I just want to understand the person, because I'll understand that even someone who smiles the most, you don't know what they cope with behind the scenes. They still could be issues that they contend with. And I don't think anyone goes through life just peacefully. It's just bliss. So I would just be more, obviously, I don't push people to tell me things they don't want to tell, or they're not ready to tell. I don't really do that. But if someone's ready to have a conversation with me, I'd be more than happy to have a conversation on a human level, So I don't get caught up in that status thing. Like I said, if you'd recognize the name, but then beyond that, it's like, okay. And the fame stuff don't really correlate with me. It don't really get into my head. Because effectively we're all just humans. We're all, like, the way I see it, like, if we're going to do the spiritual side, we're all souls having a human experience, and with this human experience, we're all put here to do specific roles. So let's say someone was a huge famous actor. The average person would lose their mind. For me, it's like a soul recognition, a soul understanding, soul level. That's what they came here to do. But just because someone has the spotlight on them doesn't make them better than anybody else, though. I'm not taking away their achievements. That's not what I'm saying. But on a spiritual level, on a soul level of consciousness, it's literally, that's their role. That's what they come here to do. That's what they've come here to experience for their soul evolution. And of course, being in a spotlight, that will influence other people for positive or negative, which maybe for others' growth as well and their evolution, but it can also be for their own evolution. Like, how do you handle the spotlight? Do you do it gracefully or do you turn negative? It's all challenges, and sometimes you put in that position to test you, and you might not realize you're being tested. So there's all these different things. But when we go back to source and spirit, I don't personally think that someone who is necessarily famous is going to be of more status in spirit. It's all going to depend on your vibration and your frequency. So there could be someone that's very unassuming, very humble, very out of the spotlight. Could be one of the most remarkable souls on this planet, and you wouldn't even know about it because they're literally away from society. You know, if you think of a monk or something, you know. So then when they go back, they're very high frequency and high vibration. So when we're in spirit, that's our true form, isn't it? So, for instance, let's say a monk, for example. I'm not saying monks specifically, but let's just use them as an example. Let's say a monk was to me of the most famous celebrity on the planet. It's like, yeah, from on a human level, that's incredible. On a soul spiritual level, let's say that soul goes at a certain frequency, returns to spirit, goes back through its transition, you're back to source. Now you're in spirit form, and it rises at a certain frequency, which, depending on how you use that fame, will obviously determine as well, because you can go up or down from conception to death. So upon conception, your soul might have been at a certain frequency before you come here for this experience, and then by the time you go back, has it gone up or down? That's the question, isn't it? But then when you get there, that's monk may go back to source and spirit and be at an incredibly high vibration, because you don't know what people's soul journeys are. You know, people, look, I'm still developing my understanding deeply, and I often get confirmations that I'm on the right path. So I believe that a lot of us are in training. So you could be a training to be a spirit guide, for instance. So maybe you're in the next life cycle, you're not going to be here. You'll be helping other people from the other side, guiding them to achieve their targets. Wouldn't necessarily say dreams. It's more their goals, their soul contracts. Help them establish that. And it could be someone you're familiar with, or someone that's got a similar skill set. That's what I think we're in training for. And then from there, you might go and do other elevations, you know, guardian angels. But these are going to be think about it, these are all frequencies that are just going to get higher and higher and higher. And then you could be perhaps even an ascended master, which would be a huge accomplishment. And an angelic force and all those things. So there's no way of knowing exactly where our souls and spirits are residing at until we're back at source. But I don't personally think our reputation in this life particularly or necessarily determines our soul's level. So I see so effectively, after all that, and I brought my spirituality to the forefront, I see everybody on a soul level. I don't see them on a reputation status level. I don't look at it like that. But like I said, if I'm aware of someone's name, I might immediately go, bloody hell, like, what are the odds of that? How the hell can they know who I am? Do you know what I mean? Like that, you can understand that. I've barely got any views. Someone else in the spotlight, they don't have to look my way. But if spirit's making them look that way, then they'll make them look, you know? And that's just how I see it. So I just see everything like that. So I immediately pick up energy. I know if you're a good, bad person, but sometimes like we can get in our own way. So my intuition's really strong. But let's say you're naturally attracted to someone or something's intriguing you, you can override sometimes your innate feeling, which is really what we should be following. So sometimes that's why we get ourselves in trouble, or we get ourselves in situations. Or, you know, someone might get through that defense and you just think, oh, I shouldn't have trusted them. And it's like, yeah, you didn't follow the intuition. You got caught up. Learn the lessons, you know? But yeah, so even if it's the biggest celebrity, I'd still consider them on a personal level. And I don't stay attached to people. So if I wouldn't take it personal. Let's say someone come in your life, you helped them for a bit, and then they went off on their own journey. Just because they have a status or a thing doesn't mean I need them in my life my whole way through. It's like, you know, I understand you have status, and it's like it maybe makes you seem more prestigious to be in their vicinity or be attached to them. But for what purpose? If we stay friends for the rest of life, that's beautiful because we was meant to. If we was in each other's lives for a moment, then we both had an impact one way or another. And I just see that as the point. It's not a case of, oh, I need to stay attached to you because I'm scared of losing everything. I don't care if I lose everything. Hence why I can be quite controversial with some of my statements, because I think freedom of a voice is far more important than the noise or reputations and all that shit. I think when you silence yourself because you're worried about people's reactions or perceptions, I think it's a bit sad, because then you limit a part of you, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not limiting me. I mean, who I am. So that's why, like my YouTube channel, it's a little bit mixed at times, and it might be annoying to someone. So I don't really care. Look, because of that, I understand the consequences. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, a lot of the time is like there's consequences to everything we do. So me deciding not to split up my content, it can be like a bit grinding on people. They might not like it. Whereas if I separate it, someone who likes spirituality, I might be able to get a load of subscribers who love spirituality. If I do personal growth, transformation, and dealing with trauma, I might get a load of followers, subscribers that are really into that, and get like load of views and likes. And again, if I did my gaming totally separately, that can grow on its own. So all those things can grow independently, which if you're looking for popularity, I would argue that's the best way to do it. That makes sense. But I'm more interested in myself than those things. So I will forgo the potential of that. I will put it all together. This is me. I am the brand, but these are the things I'm interested in. And effectively, to stay, you'll have to really just like me as I am. If you're only interested in certain segments of content, you won't stay. You won't subscribe. You may not like the content and may just move on. And I can understand that. And it's good luck with that. You see where I mean? I don't mind helping people. Like if someone only here to see one thing, let them see one thing. If someone's more interested in maybe the content I do as a person, and you're more inclined, attracted to that, then maybe you'll still enjoy some of the other content I do that's maybe not expected. But I'm not saying what people should do, because I say the numbers don't determine my value. I don't care. I get frustrated sometimes, like because I put effort into something. I don't care about subscriber numbers and things like that. I just think it's not fair when you only get a few views. It's more the fact that it should be a fair playing field, and I don't like that. I think that's really unfair when you've got a short pool of people that have actually seen what you've done. I don't think that isn't fair. But what can you do about it? Again, there's marketing, but I don't like all that. So there's my own downfall to a degree sometimes. But again, look, I know the content's about me because I'm literally talking from personal perspective. But hopefully, people can take from it by considering their own choices, their own life, their own values. And again, I'm not saying do what I do. I just said at the very beginning there that the way I do my YouTube channel is probably wrong. It would make more sense to split it up. You'll probably find more success that way. So it really depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking for success that will have potential financial, positive financial implications where you can gain, and different pockets of people may know who you are, or at least the brand names, because you might use different names? Or are you just more interested in investing in yourself and making yourself the brand? It's like really it's a personal choice. Part of it for me personally comes down to the fact that I don't like multitasking like that. It does my head in. I get fed up logging into different accounts, even if it's just a click of a button. I don't like messing about. It just starts to annoy me. I don't like spreading myself too thin all over the place, So I like keeping things simple. But yeah, anyway, this video was supposed to be short. It's gone way longer than I thought it would. I thought it was literally going to be 5 minutes. It was only supposed to be a quick update on the channel and my thoughts really on the celebrity culture, because I could talk a lot about that. I'm trying not to go too deep into it because my opinion on it, I may cover it a bit deeper later on in a book or something, but I'm not sure yet. I haven't really lived that world. I can only go from impressions and really how I would cope, because I know how I'd cope because I am who I am. I'm not going to change for anyone. I can't be bought. So that doesn't interest me. The thing is, I can't be bought, but I won't devalue myself. So there's no point people thinking, for instance, he cares more. He doesn't really care. Like money isn't his main attraction or anything like that. But that doesn't mean I'm going to let someone take advantage of me. So if, let's say, there's a really good opportunity and you think that could put you in the spotlight, but you're probably going to get taken advantage of for a moment, like they're going to exploit you or something, in terms of like the fact that you're not going to get paid what you're due, or they're going to expect you to do something. Like let's say, for instance, if you write a book for me, that will get your name noticed, but we won't pay you for it and all that. But it's more about the opportunity that can come from it. I'd say kiss my ass. I'm not doing that. It's disrespectful. You give nothing in return apart from the fact that you have a platform and connections and you feel that's enough. This is that influencer vibe, to be honest, where these content creators, they think they can just go to restaurants and have things for free just because of who they are. It's delusion. So they think because they're this, they consider themselves like a goddess, like an entity, and you're lucky to have their presence, and the connections that come with that can change your life. That's what that maybe there's truth to it to a degree, but from my point of view, that's incredibly disrespectful to just expect so much of someone without actually giving them anything other than a connection that you could have just offered for free in the first place if you was being if you was actually like a kind and supportive person. But instead, you're trying to exploit someone, and under the pretense that you will help them with something else. It's like that's nonsense to me. Now, okay, some people will see that as transactional, but for me, it's just if you can't respect someone to give them what they deserve, then don't ask them of anything, you know. So yeah, see what I mean? Like little things like that. I'm not an idiot. I'm not an idiot. It's like if you was going to do a talk show or something, and they know you have potential. And let's say the contract, they say, right, we're going to give you. This is what I'm saying. I'm not an idiot of a person. It's just that it's not going to happen, mate. Let's say they go, right, we'll do a 3-year contract, and I don't know how it all works, but I'm guessing it'd be something like this. We do a 3-year contract, and we'll only guarantee you the first season, and the first season will be based on this amount of money. And if it's successful enough, then we'll activate the other two seasons, and maybe there's like financial incentives for each one. It's like no. That just makes no sense, because I don't know how big the first one's going to be, and you don't know, and you're just doing it based on the fact that if it's successful, you're going to probably because I'm just saying based on if it's the numbers aren't great, it might be a case of if that's good, we'll exploit you for the next 2 seasons because we've already tied you into a contract. And I'd be thinking, no, I don't think so, mate. I don't even know what I want to be doing in 3 years. So how do I know it's going to be fun anyway? Again, it's that same thing. If you join a football team, someone gives you a project, they tell you this is going to be great, and it doesn't work out. Now you're stuck with this contract. You're stuck with this situation. I don't think so. So if they're not sure, see, if this is the thing that a lot of time it'll be like if you turn it down, then the opportunity goes away. I'd say let it go away then, because that's fake. Like if you're telling me if it's successful, you will then activate 2 more years of a contract, which now I'm tied to and bound by. But yet, if it doesn't work out, that's not activated anyway. So what do I gain from it? Oh, you gain a contract increase if it goes well. Well, I'm pretty sure if it goes well, I should probably get more than what that contract increase is anyway. And if it goes well, and you don't offer me what I deserve, someone else may see the potential in it. And I've just closed the doors to opportunities because you're now telling me that I'm contracted. Shove that up your ass. But it's just about like what's fair, you know. It's like I'm not saying I wouldn't do a 3-year contract, but it's like these things better make sense. Don't just expect me to go, I can't believe this opportunity's come. I can't believe it. It's like, oh my God, like this is going to change my life. I'll sign anything. I don't think so, mate. I have no doubt that that's like these opportunities may come, and I've got no doubt that I'll be pretty good at it. So I'm not going to be an idiot that just goes, I can't believe this. This is like, wow. It's like, no. If you're talking to me, it's because you see something in me. That's the thing, because I'm the brand. And that's how your mind has to think. You have to be ready for that conversation. But I'm not a greedy person. But if you lowball me because you see an opportunity to exploit me, so I consider that disrespectful. So I just expect people to be fair. I can understand people trying to negotiate to start with, but don't start taking the piss. I'm not an idiot. And if this is the thing, I'm just making it very clear and transparent. If someone comes to me and says, this is an opportunity, you have to tell us yes or no now, otherwise it goes, I'll say go. It could be today. I could get a message today and someone could say, this is what we're going to offer you this. We need to know right now. Well, if you're putting me under that pressure, that's so unreasonable. I don't operate like that. If you're going to treat me like that now, then you're going to treat me like that on a regular basis. You're going to keep putting me put pressure on me in a moment. You're going to always expect me just to keep backing down and doing this and doing this and doing this. I'm never going to have time to think. I'm going to process even what I want. It's not always going to be about money. So it might be that someone offers less and it's like, that's an exciting project though, and I can see me doing that. And it might even be the fact that it's surrounded by people you respect and appreciate, and it'd be a great work environment. I don't know. Well, it might be a location you want to go to. It's not always going to be money though, is it? But so yeah, it's not always going to be a case of you're going to do what people expect you to do. It's like, what do I feel's right? I always follow my heart and always follow my intuition. So, like, if I feel something's right, it's right. If I feel something's iffy, I'm hesitating. And if I'm hesitating and you're putting pressure on me to say yes, then and it's yes or no, and I'm hesitating, you can guarantee, put that pressure on me, I'm going to say no. Because if I'm not sure, the answer's no then. If you give me time to think, I might better process it a bit more and I'll weigh it all up and I'll try and come to a decision and I'll think about it. But if I'm confused or not really sure, or I'm hesitating, like thinking, well, I don't think it's right, and someone pressures me, then you've just confirmed to me that, yeah, that's definitely not right for me because I don't feel comfortable saying yes. So if I don't feel comfortable saying yes and I feel more comfortable saying no, then that's the answer, isn't it? Again, I know I'm saying about this all hypotheticals, and perhaps it'll help other people in their life though. When you look at opportunities you get, and maybe you're already in the spotlight, and you feel pressured all the time. It's like, slow shit down. You don't need to be what people want you to be. It's like, who are you? And then what makes you excited about, like, waking up in the morning? What makes you excited to create a legacy? What things do you want for yourself? Yeah, you might lose something to gain something, but it's about just getting back to self, and not trying to be what other people. It's a bit like if you think of the movie industry. Let's say you get into acting and you can't help it. Let's say I was acting. I'm not a good actor. I couldn't do acting. But if you was doing acting, let's say you see yourself as really, really deep dramatic actor, or someone, even someone that can do horrors. You've got that emotional depth, that you can go to those places, and you're doing drama school, and that's where you're leaning toward. You can't wait to be able to do a project like that. That's like your dream. And then someone somewhere gives you an opportunity, because it's the thing. It's not always, especially your first jobs in the film industry and things. You're going to be excited to get a role. Now imagine that's what you thought was going to happen. You thought you was going to have some deep, like, really, really, exciting work. And then the opportunity you get is a time period thing back in the Tudor times in England, and you've got to wear some sort of dippy clothes where you look stupid. You've got to talk really posh, or something like that, or you're going to be the scruffy side that's poor. But either way, it's like, this isn't what I was thinking when I was going to be acting. And now you're tied to this role, and then you've got the film will come out one day, and you think, I don't even like the film, and that was my first job because I can't. Who says no to an acting job? But that's really part of the problem of acting, isn't it? It's like, how often can you say no? Even if you're at the very top, I guess it's really hard. If you say no, then maybe some of the producers and the directors and the casting agents, maybe they don't want to work with you. So it's quite political, isn't it? But I think you have to set the tone and have a direction, I think, personally, and say, this is what I want to do. Because you see it a lot where people get pigeonholed. Maybe they're a really good actor, but they're just known for comedies. And it's like, it's not their fault. They literally took a comedy role, got typecast as a comedic actor, and that's now all they do. And it's like, that's quite frustrating, because how the hell do you get out of that loop? And it just seems to be like wherever you fall, doesn't it? So, yeah. Yeah, anyway, I know I digress there, but it's like, I think sometimes you have to have a vision for how you see yourself. There's nothing wrong with, like, I think, early positions to get the door open, but I think then you've got to start, like, cherry picking your path, really. Again, depends what you're doing. If you're doing it for the fame, then obviously take the roles that maybe your casting agent or the opportunities there, or you feel that could be a blockbuster. Although I don't think you could ever tell which one's a blockbuster, because even a great looking film could end up a pile of crap. Yeah, anyway. So it's either going to come down to fame, money, or, legacy. And if it's legacy, you're going to want to do what you want to do. Otherwise, you're going to have a list of films you're never even proud of or enjoyed. But if you pick your films, even if you get less money, at least you're proud of what you did, and I'm attached to every single one of them because there's something in the script, or something with the cast, or something with the director. There was something I want to work with, and I got to fulfill that, and that's exciting. And it's not always, like I said with me, like, it's not always going to be about the money, is it? Like, you might go and do an independent movie because of it might even be the theme of the film. You think, I've got to do this, and yet someone might be for your, like, a Marvel movie or something blockbuster, and it's like, this is going to be out of that could put you in the stratosphere. Like, what one matters? Like, that other one, if it goes to another person, you're not going to get that chance again. All decisions, of course, for each of us when we get things, but I just think it's more about integrity and legacy. Personally, I think. For me, it is anyway. I'm not chasing the fool's gold for sure. But, like I said there earlier, it doesn't mean you devalue yourself. You don't let people just take advantage of you just because you're not money orientated. Because I still deserve to be rewarded. And then it's up to me what I do with that money. You know, for instance, I could get paid really well for something. Who knows in the future, which seems mental now. But let's say in the future you just money. You'd never worry about money ever again. And let's say you've got a really nice house, a nice car, like things like that. Every time you get paid, it's up to you what you do with it. You're not obligated to do anything with it, is it? You could just save it. You could treat yourself to things. You can live a flamboyant life. You can literally do what you want. I wouldn't live a flamboyant life. I'm not interested in flaunting shit. I'd like to have a nice house because who wouldn't? I'd like to have a reasonable car, but not really that desperate for anything mental. I'd like to be able to travel, go on holiday more frequently. I'd love to do that more. These are, but even then, it doesn't have to be ridiculously expensive. But I'm sure if your lifestyle improves, you start having nicer experiences, don't you? But I don't think it would always be about that because I think I'd always like the humble side of it as well. So even if I had money was never an option, I think, yeah, I'd like to go to some nice hotels where it's peaceful, tranquil. It's experiences maybe I haven't had before. But I think I'd also still enjoy going into those other places where it's not quite so like that. Just keeps you grounded. And I think you see more of the world when you integrate between both parallels, you know, both sides of society. But then there'll be a side to me that wants to help people. So what I'm saying there is, let's say someone offer you, let's say you should be given $1 million or £1 million for this project, and someone offers you $500,000. Now, someone would go, bloody hell, it's $500,000 though, it's amazing. Yeah, but I deserve $1 million. Yeah, but you're going to risk of $500,000. Yeah, but that's double. And the thing is, what someone might not realize is that maybe that $500,000 extra was money. I'm not saying this is exactly how I'd do it, but let's say in my head, I want that $500,000 because I want to help people. And all of us, you know, it might be that I want the first $500,000 for me, and I want $500,000 to help people. Now, the company don't need to know that. That's just what I feel I'm entitled to anyway. But what I want to do with that money is my business. So if I want to buy myself a house or a car, or I want to go on holiday, I can. If I want to spend it all on me, I can. But if I want to split some of that up and start doing good causes that I choose, not what someone tells me to invest in, but I choose to help, then I should be able to do that. And it might be that I'm fighting for these margins because I want to do something specific with that money. Otherwise, it just goes to the company in the first place, doesn't it? And it's like, they've cut my opportunity in half because they're trying to save pennies or trying to exploit me. And that's stopping me from doing charitable things. So, of course, I'm going to fight for that, aren't I? So anyone that thinks he doesn't care about money, I don't care about it deeply for myself, but I would like to make some changes in the world. So I know my value. And yeah, initially, of course, it's going to be about investing in myself because you can't help people from a place where you're not helpful in yourself. So we have to invest in ourselves. We have to find that self-love. We have to find compassion for ourselves. Literally have to love our own company. And then, of course, we need to start building our stability and thriving to a degree. And then from there, we can go from a place of investing in ourselves to now we can start helping other people. Again, that's if we choose to do that, of course. But it's up to people what they want to do. But again, don't lose sight of the fact that we're on a soul journey here. It's not about posturing above people, but being our best selves.